All right, we're on. So welcome to our September State TA Day call. This is we've extended until 3 o'clock for the first time. We'll see if we use all that time. My guess is we probably will, but of course, if you have to jump off or take care of yourself, we are recording this, so we'll be able to send the recording out afterwards, just in case you have to hop off and you miss anything, or if colleagues joining late or who are unable to join today. So just to kick off the meeting, I just wanted to give a little plug about the merit awards. So per the guidance on the website, MOUs do need to be in place for the merit awards to be able to be delivered. So if anyone is leveling up, just make sure that they have that MOU in place, preferably before they do so. We understand that things happen, and there have been some issues with merit awards, or when the system was shut down last fiscal year in May and June, some people may have moved up and not received their award, stuff like that. Just be in contact with your coordinator, and we'll work through any of those issues. But in general, MOUs should be in place while the leveling up occurs for the merit award to be accessible. And then Lilith has something quick to discuss as well.
Yes. As you all know, an audit was performed on the Sugar CRM system last year, and it reviewed expenditures to ensure that they were properly documented and aligned with program requirements. And so in this audit, one of the key recommendations that they came out with was that ECCs, as well as our team, should definitely strengthen our review of the quality improvement and capital improvement spending by creating a process that ensures that projects are adequately documented, approved, and reviewed. So we had something in place and it's working, but we just needed to tighten it up a little bit. So to comply with these recommendations, we've made some updates to the capital improvement process and documentation needed for councils to review. You can find those updated council capital improvement documents in the EC Connect support site. And I'm also going to pop them in the chat right now. And then they don't work, of course. Oops, again. Nope. All right. Well, I will grab them and pop them in the chat because they're not popping in as links, but I'll go ahead and grab them. And then kind of in alignment with that, and everyone has been doing such a great job. This is not calling out any one council. It's really just saying we all want to be on the same page and reviewing everything so that we don't miss anything and nothing, is an issue later on. So we will be hosting trainings in partnership with Denver's Early Childhood Council on these updated capital improvement, as well as quality spending reimbursement documents and processes there. So if you hold an active sugar license, you would have received an email or in the sugar newsletter to say that you have to attend one of these capital improvement trainings. They're an hour, and we just go over the documentation, go over any questions you may have, and just kind of make sure that we're all on the same page for this process. So go ahead and register for one of those trainings if you have not already. I'm going to try and put this link in and see if it works. Okay, so that is the link to register for one of the following trainings. And we had one yesterday from 10 to 11, so there's 5 more left, and I'll go ahead and also put that schedule in the chat right now as well, just so you can kind of take a look at times and make sure that you can sign up for one of these. And there we go. And then, like I said, that capital improvement documentation is in the support desk. So here is the QI. Trying to figure out where the people's are. There we go. Here's the QI documentation that we have that was updated just to make sure that everyone's on the same page. If a provider says hey, I want to order these materials, and the council says, yeah, that sounds great, and provider says, but I want to do it on my credit card or with a check because for whatever reason they want to, then if they go through and order it, this document that I just popped in the chat will apply to those sorts of reimbursements. And then the capital improvement, just some of those minor tweaks and tightening up of the process. You can find that in the support site as well. And I will pop in that link now. There we go. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Jessica at the support site. She can field most of those questions and bring one of our team members in if we need to. But otherwise, you have the link to sign up and then the times and days and those support documents as well that you can review before you attend. Stacy, I see you raised a hand.
And maybe they'll be able to answer this during the capital session, but one thing we're just wanting to make sure we're clear on is the need to verify that vendors have pulled proper permits. I am not an expert in what needs a permit or what doesn't, and I'm going to largely be going based on, I'll say, do you have all your permits? And they're going to say yes or no, and I'm going to say, okay, we need permits, but I'm just concerned that something might not happen properly that would get a provider in trouble somehow if they don't have permits. So I just wanted some additional guidance on that.
Perfect. And Charlie or Michelle, feel free to add into that. I think that as far as we're going along with that, that kind of ties to some of the insurance questions we got on our first training. What do those documents look like? How do I get them, etc. I think that if you are using a licensed contractor, they are going to know what they need to do for this job. And if they do not know, then that is a time to pull us in so we can try and troubleshoot before anything starts. But again, Michelle and Charlie, please feel free to add any thoughts or guidance you may have.
Stacy, I'll see if I can find some resources that explain when permits are needed. To see if there's some sort of like Colorado state rules that say this is when contractors should be pulling permits, and see if we can upload those. But we'll keep you updated on resources as we're finding them to answer that question.
Yeah, because I know there's even different permits required based on different counties as well in my area. So in the 4-county area, there could be variability in what different building departments make them do. And we had a situation a couple years ago where one vendor said, no, we don't need permits. And then we found out they did need permits. So it just seems like a imperfect sort of situation where we might be told one thing and it's not even right.
So, well, and this might be where you guys as council coordinators will need to find out what those rules are for your service area, because we do know, like just like zoning, rules vary between city zones versus county zones. And, so it might be something where we might have to relay this on you guys to find out what those differences are for your area, to make sure that those who are needing permits are complying with the area in which they live in.
All right. So yeah, and Stacy, if there's ever any question, just reach out to Lilith or Michelle or I, and if there's ever anything that's funny or you have any questions on what is being submitted, we can work through that before the project. All right, I'm trying to keep us on track, so I'm going to throw it over to Elaine, who has some PDIS updates for us.
Yes, I do. Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So I will be talking about the PDIS today. And so I wanted to start by introducing myself. My name is Elaine Maskus. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the new PDIS manager in the Workforce Division at CDEC. I started around mid-July, so I'm about 2 months in, and I've been having a great time learning everything there is to know about the PDIS. But I do want to preface this presentation by saying that I still have a lot more to learn. But wanted to take a moment to introduce myself and my role, and then share a little bit about how you all can engage with me and what it means for the PDIS. So the PDIS manager is a new role within CDEC. And so for the past few years, including through the rebuild of the PDIS, many different hands across the Department of Education and OEC have helped shape and support what the new PDIS looks like and what it can do. However, with this new role, we have one centralized brain tracking all of the related PDIS things. And so my main priority in this role is to start with this really strong foundation that we have and grow and improve it so that it can better serve the early childhood field. And with this new role, we're able to spend more time and brain power and effort into really nailing down how the PDIS can be improved, and engaging with communities and fields on where it's not meeting needs, and really hopefully making the PDIS a centralized and useful tool for everyone in the field. I am working on getting some processes set up to allow for regular input from this group, as well as other people in the field. And so I am on how to improve the PDIS. And so I'm hoping to have that ready to share out next month. So stay tuned there. And then I would just love to take the rest of the time today to share out some new updates to the PDIS that have been made in the last month or so. And I'm hoping this will become a normal part of these TA Day meetings as we continue to expand and improve the PDIS. So you may have seen some chatter around new user roles in the PDIS. And it's true, we have 4 new advanced user types in the PDIS, and these each come with different permissions, and they're all meant to ease the administrative burden on directors and staff. So you can see these 4 roles here. I'm going to go through what each of these roles are, as well as a little bit more info. And then just for timing's sake, I'm going to try to go pretty quickly, but then we'll hopefully have time at the end to answer questions. So the PDIS administrator is the first of these roles. And you can kind of think of this as the coordinator of the other new positions. So anyone who has a user role of PDIS administrator is able to assign other staff at their center to be these other 3 roles: workforce manager, training manager, and background check manager. Any staff will need to be verified and active at a center within PDIS in order to be assigned one of these roles. But other than that, the PDIS admin can really go in and set everything else up. And then there can be multiple PDIS administrators for one center or organization. The workforce manager is able to update employment records for all employees at their center or organization. And so this includes marking employees as verified and active, no longer active, updating job roles, start date, and date as needed, that kind of information. And so as a workforce manager, you'll be able to see all of the employees at your center. It'll look like this. And then you can just go into this detail and it will pop up the fields that you can update for each employee. And then there can be also multiple workforce managers at one center or organization. The training manager is able to track training progress of all of the employees at their center on the learning side of PDIS. And then they're also able to assign courses for employees to complete in the learning side. There can only be one training manager for each license number. So this is a little different than the PDIS administrator and workforce manager. However, someone can be a training manager for more than one license number. So for networks of centers or school districts, you can have one person as the training manager across all of the centers in the network, and have them assign consistent trainings and PD across the network. Lastly, we have the background check manager. And this person is able to see the status of completed background checks for all staff at the center. They'll only be able to see the status, so whether or not a background check was passed. They won't be able to see any additional information or any actual content of the background check itself. And then in order to be assigned the background check manager role, there is an additional attestation that's needed. So it'll look like this, saying that you are the right person or whoever is being assigned is the right person. And then that will be sent to licensing for approval. And then there can be multiple background check managers at one center or organization. So these are what the 4 roles can do. Now, how do we get people these roles? So the PBIS administrator access can be granted by reaching out to the PBIS help desk or your licensing specialist. And an individual has to have a job role of director, assistant director, or administrator to receive this access. But other than that, all you have to do is request it. And then once there is a PBIS administrator for your center, then this individual can assign either themselves or anyone else at the center to the additional roles of training manager, workforce manager, and background check manager. Directors are also able to assign training and workforce manager roles, but not background check manager roles. However, a director could be assigned to be a PBIS administrator as well, and then they can assign all of the roles. And then lastly, I mentioned this on the previous slide, but the background check manager role does have an additional approval step. So either the PBIS administrator or the PBIS administrator will attest that either the person they are assigning to that role or themselves, if they are assigning themselves to that role, just say that they are legally the person who is supposed to have access to this information. That attestation and request will be sent to licensing, and then the CDEC licensing team is the one who will grant that access. Okay, and then lastly, just how this integrates with QRIS. So with these new roles, all employees at a center that's undergoing a QRIS rating need to have a job role in their PBIS profile. And so basically, the QRIS rating will pull over anyone whose PBIS profile for a center has a job role that includes working with children, so lead teacher, assistant teacher, something like that, but it won't pull over employees whose job roles are solely administrative. So if anyone has just one of these newer job roles in their QRIS, in their PBIS profile, won't be pulled over for a QRIS rating, because we don't want that to change the level of qualifications, because if someone is just an administrator role, they don't need to have that same level of qualification as someone who works with children does. Okay, so I know that was a lot of information quickly. I do have some information to share. So there's an email communication that I just put in the chat that has all of this information. And then there's a how-to guide for how to assign these new roles. Okay, and so I am trying to look through these questions quickly. But yeah, we will share out these slides. Existing directors will not already be assigned to the PBIS administrator. But if you just send a quick email to the help desk or your licensing specialist, then you should be able to get that set up pretty quickly. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through. Are there any other questions? Or we are at 1:20, so maybe it makes sense to pass this on to the next step, but my email is right there, so feel free to reach out with any questions. And I'll send my email in the chat as well.
Thank you, Elaine. Yeah, so I did put both the links Elaine added in the chat, as well as her presentation in the agenda, which you have access to, and we'll send it out in the next couple of days too with everybody's presentations. So moving along, is Josh on? I don't know if I saw him jump on.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Cool. So Josh and I know Karen kind of had a last minute emergency, but Josh is going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on with Clayton and Maria as well. Welcome.
All right. So yeah, Thanks everyone for having me. It's good to see people I email with all the time. So thank you so much. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things with the rating and then just kind of what's happening. First, I'm going to talk about our staffing at Clayton. So Melissa Swain, who you probably mostly all know, who's presented on here before, she was promoted internally at Clayton to Senior Workforce Director. So she's still going to overseeing our department, Quality Assessment Services, but then also the Clayton Coaching Department and Research and Evaluation. So that kind of left a vacancy for a director. And Maria Dolan, who was an assessment manager, got that position, which is great. We're really excited for that. She is on here, and she can maybe unmute and just kind of talk for a second. Just I know many of you probably know her, but yeah.
Hi, I'm Maria Dolan. Yeah, as Josh said, I've been in the assessment or ratings world for quite some time, about 17 years. Started as an assessor myself. Yep, for the past 3.5 years, I've been managing the assessment team. Those are the assessors that go out and do those ERS observations for the level 3 to 5 rating. And now I'm moving into that director role. So we'll do my best to fill Melissa's shoes, but I'm looking forward to continuing forward on my journey in the quality ratings world. So thanks for having me today. And thank you for the congratulations in the chat. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Maria's super. So we're pumped that she got promoted and everything. So it's so great. So yes, so that also leaves a vacancy for Maria, but we have filled that manager of the assessment team who is starting October 3rd. So maybe this next one we'll get a few minutes just to kind of introduce her. And yeah, we'll get to know her. Big shoes to fill, big job to kind of step into. So it'll probably be a while until she transitions. Maria's kind of holding both roles right now, as kind of Melissa is too. So kind of straddling both positions. So all right, so all current, so we're fully staffed, which is great. That's been a long time coming. So we're doing great. And then also, so in October, we're going to be posting for a one quality assessment associate and one quality data associate, which is exciting. The quality data associate is going to be supporting PDIS credential scoring for programs in the rating, and then also kind of working with PDIS and kind of filling that, kind of taking off that backlog. So that'll be really supportive of programs going through the rating, kind of get their credentials, and we're excited about that. So the status of the queue, right? So there's 170 programs in the queue. And it's about 90 renewals program who are renewing or expiring, and then 80 programs for the first time. So just my approach for scheduling is I really want to kind of balance and blend these together for these upcoming months. And it's still moving slowly, but right, like I think I've said in the past, March of 2020, we kind of got cut off, right? That COVID thing that's, kind of still lingering around, and didn't do any observations until, I think it's about September. So we don't have any programs expiring, and that's when a lot of things are going to kind of, that queue is going to really hope to be decimated by then. So a big spring, big summer, and really kind of get through. So yeah. So a couple reminders, right? Make sure programs are listed at 12 months or 9 months. That's going to be especially important in this summer to work through the queue. Alternative pathways, the programs are going through alternative pathways. Reverse the L3, L5 application if they've submitted that. I know sometimes there's some confusion on applying for different funds, submitting. Getting the programs in the queue that are going to rate is the best thing possible, because we do get late drops, different things come up. Any situations, let me know as soon as possible, because then I can slide other programs in. And then same extensions, right? Once a program submits, they're kind of committing to rate, and quality should happen all year round, regardless of the month. So yeah, if there's issues, obviously, the program can talk to the council, and you guys can connect with Lilith or Charlie, or Michelle about some options. But right, we want to get programs scheduled, going through the rating, and then move through quickly, and not have these big long waits. that I know programs have been waiting around for. So, and then one kind of last reminder, many might know, many don't know, but as councils, you do have access to this scheduled QRIS applications in Salesforce report, and that shows that pulls from the schedule that I build and everything, so you can see what programs you support in there. And I think I'm working on the December schedule right now, and I'll notify those guys or those programs by the end of September. But you guys go in there, and I'll kind of share these instructions. But basically, you'll go into reports and then click under public reports, and then you'll search in the top right, scheduled QRIS applications. And I think if you put in QRIS or scheduled, it's going to pop up. There's only going to be one. But then once you click on that, make sure you click on run, and that'll update everything. So I'll put those instructions in the chat here when I'm done, because I know it's a little tough, and I'll also put my email address if you guys don't have it. But other than that, I'll take some questions if there are some. But otherwise, I'll stay on for a little bit before I hop off. If there's something comes up, you can put it in the chat or just kind of ask.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions pop up yet. But yeah, Karen just put in here a shout out to you and Clayton, scheduling and getting, the train stopped, and then you got it running again, full speed. We're really grateful and really appreciative. And we're all working together on this. So keep up with the patience. And Josh put the instructions for where to find that report. So councils, just remember to check that, maybe once a month, see what's in the queue, see what's coming up. So that way you're prepared, and you can support your programs in that way. All right. Our new employee, Emily Wengrovius, is going to talk to us a little bit about E&E.
Hi, everyone. It's so great to see you. As Charlie mentioned, my first official day as not a contractor for the department was last Monday. So I am the interim E&E grant manager until we're able to hire that position. And then also I'm the Circle Grant program manager. So I wanted to give you an update really quickly about E&E, and then we have a few minutes afterwards, hopefully, to answer any questions that you have. And my colleagues tease me that not everything is about E&E, because I'm always like, what about this? Thanks so much, Maureen. We're looking at opening the application around January. A lot of that has to do with what we need to do in Salesforce. And then thanks so much, Karen. And the other piece has to do with, there's a lot of things kind of coming for providers at the end of the year. So we thought it might spread it out a little bit, even though if the applications that opportunities for providers may not be run directly through councils, it's something like the health and air quality grants, for example, or the teacher pieces that my colleague Christy manages. So we have a trustee document work group. I see some of our members on here where we're reviewing the documentation related to the guidance and the business rules and the MOUs. We just actually finalized the licensing, consultation guides. We just updated some of the language to make it really clear that, for example, the licensing consultation guide is part of the process, and just because you get that doesn't mean you're automatically getting E&E, which is something we kind of ran into last year. The next piece that we're going to look at the documentation group is our MOU with as it relates to E&E. It will be very similar to the quality MOUs, but one of the things that we're looking at adding is a little stronger language around materials, and we're also looking at just overall streamlining. Do we need to make some language stronger? The other thing that I want to put in there for you all to remind you is that you can customize your E MOUs. I know it's a little squirrely because the dates are longer than our normal dates when it comes to signing MOUs with providers. And I just want to say that if you have internal documentation deadlines or internal accounting deadlines that you absolutely have to have all your stuff ordered by or your everything complete by, I encourage you to put that into the MOU so that it's really transparent and clear with your providers why you're asking them to do what they're doing when you're asking them to do. It's similarly if you're requiring a certain amount of coaching before any accessing of other funding, that's something you could add to the MOU as well. So I just want to put that out there. Again, I know it's kind of squirrely because E&E is its own little, I shouldn't say little, it's its unique animal, but especially with the long timeline that's in the contract. So if you have thoughts or questions or any ideas, or if you actually want to join our group, we meet on Mondays, you're welcome to join us. The other folks that come regularly are licensing, because we all think it's really important to really make sure that licensing and quality are kind of rowing in the same direction. The other piece that I'm going to update this week actually is the invoice for E&E. And so if anybody would be willing to, once I update it, just look it over from a council perspective, I would love that. So please email me and say, hey, I'll look at the invoice. And then you could say, Emily, I don't know what you're doing, but maybe you should try this. And I'll say, okay. So, or maybe I'll ask why. But anyhow, so that's what I am working on as it comes up, just like the next month or so. Obviously, one of the big things that our group still has to tackle are the business rules. And right now, I think it's been shared before, we're looking at keeping the eligibility like thresholds kind of similar than last year. The only one that we're looking at changing is really around if you're a home provider and you're only adding one slot, having not being eligible for 50,000, but maybe a reduced amount around 25,000. I can't imagine it being more than that. So Karen put an update in the chat that one of the things that we experienced, both with my experience being hired as the Circle Grant Manager, is we're dealing with HR in a way that we have a fantastic HR team. And like all good HR teams, they're overstretched, and we're also in this weird transition period. So just, it's working its way through. So same with employer-based childcare, I assume. So I'm making stuff up now, Karen, so pull me back if I am. So that's all I have for an update. Do you have any questions or comments that I can answer or respond to? No, I answered them all on Friday. I'm just kidding. It was so cool seeing you all on Friday, for those of you that I was able to connect with. Well, I have open door. No, you can ask me, email me, call me, text me. That's my cell phone. So don't hesitate to text me. I'll text you back. I might even text you a song. So, okay. Oh yeah, so here's what Karen said. Yes, employer-based childcare is also in a lag, but we finalized interviews today. So that one's going to be a few more weeks out. So, yeah, so Karen's piece around the EE role is keep candidates updated and hope to get approval to hire in the next few weeks. So the other piece that Lilith asked about the MOU is, one, if you're going to customize your MOU, it needs to be reviewed by me, and I'll probably loop in your QRIS coordinator too, so that they're, because again, we all like to collaborate here. And then we can send it to the EC support folks so that they can actually upload it for your council. So other questions or comments?
Just a quick reminder that if you haven't turned in your contract documents yet, please make sure to do so as quickly as you can.
Yes, and if you need support with that, just email me or text me or call me, and we'll figure out a time that we can get together. And I just want to really thank to our document team, the volunteers, because it's only an hour once a week, but it's a lot to meet once a week for an hour. So thank you for being honest and sharing your insight.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. I can speak for everyone when we say we're happy you're here. All right. Taryn, if you're here, is going to give us a Pyramid Plus update. Is Taryn Healthy Childcare here? Any Healthy Childcare Colorado reps? All right, stay tuned on that. Well, Connie, if you're ready, we'd love to hear your update.
I'm ready. Thank you,
Awesome.
Charlie. Hi, I'm Connie Salvalaga, and I'm with CDC. I'm working with the Peer Mentor Program, the pilot project, and I just wanted to give you an update about this project. We're starting today, first module meeting with our English cohort, and we have 15 participants for that cohort, with a total of 13 counties represented. So I am very excited. We have Pueblo, Logan, Denver, Adams, Jefferson, Montrose, Arapahoe, Douglas, Mesa, Summit, Weld, and Delta counties represented in our group. Our Spanish cohort, we're starting next week. We only have 8 participants. So the reason why I wanted to keep you in the loop about my program is because we didn't get a lot of interest from our Spanish-speaking providers and teachers and directors out in the field. So we're moving forward with cohort 1, but keep us in mind for cohort number 2. We will be sending out information about the program again in February. And I think that is all that I had, Charlie. So super excited for tonight. So keep us in mind.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Connie. I know it's going to be great. I can't wait to hear how it goes. Cool. All right, we are ahead of schedule. Shockingly, maybe we will get out here on time, on our old time. Christine, here you go. Cool.
Hey y'all, I'm Christine Bowery, work at the Colorado Department of Early Childhood as Coaching Instructional Design Coordinator. And I've been able to get in touch with and support some of you directly, but have really been enjoying launching the pre-licensing training curriculum. So I'm here to talk about that and how to get access to the Family Child Care Home pre-licensing training through the Train the Trainer process that is now live in the Colorado Shines PDIS. And I'll actually have a little link to share with anyone who has any additional questions or needs additional support. You can join me after this quick presentation so you can just get some one-on-one support. So let's dive in. Just a couple updates. Thinking about where we are in the scope of this project, we've come a long way. We started with an analysis back in October of 2021, and we really worked with a lot of the folks that are on this call and some of those direct trainers to articulate what we needed in this curriculum. So it was launched on August 23rd, 2022, and it will be required to be used across the state by January 1st, 2023. So that's one of our biggest updates. We listened to the feedback from the field, which was from you all, saying, how are we going to do this so quickly? So we really wanted to give folks some time to get used to the new pre-licensing curriculum materials and also go through that Train the Trainer process that I'll talk more about. Also want to share, sorry, I usually do this in the beginning. These slides are published online, and there are a variety of links in here that will be helpful if you are a person, a trainer, or guiding a trainer to access the new curriculum. So I just threw those in the chat so that at any time you can refer to the links or the information on this slide deck. I'm going to breeze through a few very specific updates just for you all, but the slide deck does contain information about the curriculum, trainer requirements, and the Train the Trainer process. I've also got some resources for trainers on engagement and supporting diverse learners. So I just want to point out, as trainers are using the new curriculum, there's going to be a facilitator guide that has all the information that you need in order to provide the training after you've gone through that 2-hour Train the Trainer online. You're going to have a participant guidebook that also follows the curriculum. There are 7 modules. So from module 1 through 7, the participants really have some reflective questions and supports to get them thinking more deeply about the curriculum. And then we've also got slides, of course, for the facilitators, and you'll find those in PowerPoint and Google Slides. We also have a website that will allow anyone to access any of the resources for this training publicly. So if you'd like to take a little peek, you sure can. I'll throw this into the chat. And this is essentially intended to be an easy way for our participants to access all the materials that you need them to have if you're training them. So to access the participant guidebook, to have some supports around writing their policies. Of course, we will only be able to cover a few policies in this training, but we want to make sure that they've got some really robust resources around those. So explore that a little bit if you'd like. These materials are currently being translated, and we'll have those ready for release in November or December of this year. So I'm saying December 2022, right in time for our expectation for all folks, both English and Spanish trainers, to be presenting the new pre-licensing curriculum materials. This training is intended to be taught as an instructor-led training, so that means a live trainer will always be available to the population. And we did that intentionally. We constructed the materials for an instructor-led training, so it won't be something that folks just jump on a recording, but instead they'll have opportunities for small group interaction and large group learning. The trainer requirements to become an approved trainer of family child care home pre-licensing curriculum are essentially to have an early childhood professional credential, our foundational state credential, at a level 3, and then apply for that trainer credential. It is a requirement to have that level 3 early childhood professional credential in order to earn a trainer credential. So got some links in there with additional information about what that entails, just in case that'll be helpful to you. And then also, just a link to additional information, why we're making this change, who can be a trainer, and essentially how to get in contact with us. So I'll share a little bit more information about office hours. The trainer credential is essentially going to look for a little bit of additional training on adult learners and training design. So that's going to be that requirement. And once you have the early childhood professional credential and trainer credential, you're going to have access to the Train the Trainer course if you've done all the prerequisites that family child care home providers are required to take online through the Colorado Shines PDAS. So this just shows you the process, step 1 through 5 that I've shared with you. After folks have taken that Train the Trainer, that 2-hour course online, they're essentially going to have access to the materials immediately. So one thing that's really nice about that is that it is on your terms. I do want to point out that there are those required trainings and prerequisites in order to access the Train the Trainer, and those include playground safety and injury prevention for homes. The reason those include those trainings is because we anticipate those will be included for family child care providers as requirements when we update rule. So I do want to point out some new information I haven't shared with this group before, which is essentially how director qualified folks become qualified or actually meet the requirement to not have to take family child care home pre-licensing. So I have a little bit more information in here because this is new. Again, we anticipate changes with updated rule that will mean that anyone that's director qualified will not actually have to take the business portion of family child care home pre-licensing. But right now, our rule states that anyone that is director qualified must take that business portion of training. So I just want to point out that anyone who's interested in opening a family child care home that is director qualified can submit a waiver, and licensing will review and approve that waiver to not take the business portion of this class until a new rule is updated. A little bit more about the prerequisites and just some links to help you get the information that you need. And then I do want to share that we have begun office hours that are open to anyone who's interested in becoming a trainer for family child care home pre-licensing training. So this is now being hosted with a licensing supervisor, which is so nice. Thank you, Miss Emily Chavez, who does it all. And she's just been a wonderful resource. This is literally there so that trainers can ask questions about licensing, but they can also ask questions about the logistics around training. Get that support from me, but also that support from Emily as needed. So please join us. I'll throw that Google Meet joining info into the chat. Actually, I won't throw this Google Meet joining info that I'm presenting into the chat, but I will share with you where you can jump off this call and join me if you have any specific questions to help you really navigate this training or get into the materials. So just one quick sec, I'll throw that in the chat. And I think I have just one more piece of information to share before I pop off today. Let's see, wanted to make sure that y'all have the Colorado Shines training email. Anyone, especially that's working with our councils, that reaches out to us at CDEC_Colorado Shines training at state.co.us. We're going to be able to respond to you as quickly as possible through this training email. So I'll throw that into the chat so that you can reach me as quickly as you need.
All right, awesome. And I'll put the email address in the agenda as well, just so folks know where to find it real quickly.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks so much, Christine. I know this has been a constantly evolving process, so thanks for bearing with us and for providing the resources and making the information easy to access. Does anyone have any questions for Christine or about the credentialing process? All righty,
I'm so
cool.
glad you asked, Charlie, because I actually have one more bit of information to share that'll be going out in a recent communication. I'm sorry, I forgot.
No, you're good.
So essentially, if you are a trainer or if you're working with a trainer who is using the PDIS to complete those online prerequisites to access the Train the Trainer course, we found a little glitch in some of our training completions. So essentially, I just want to throw some guidance into the chat. If you are a trainer that's experiencing any issue accessing that Train the Trainer and you know you've completed one of those prerequisites, we want you to essentially request an exemption. I'll put that information into the chat, but it might take me just a little minute to find it. And then you can also, when you request an exemption, my boss or myself will dive into your account right away, identify all those required trainings that you've completed, and give you access. So just wanted to make sure that if we do have anyone that's, don't hit your head against the wall, reach out to us, and we'll get back to you right away and make sure that you've got access. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you so much. Kristen Lang,
Hey, Charlie, I'm
are
here.
you out there? Okay. Cool.
I'm out here. Okay, let me go ahead and get our slide deck up. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kristen Lang. I'm the Program Access Manager for our Preschool Development Grant Unit at the Colorado Department of Early Childhood. And my two PDG Program Access Coordinators, Marika Padilla and Megan LeClaire, are here too, just to support with some link dropping, but we will make sure that this slide deck is linked in Charlie's agenda as well, so you can go back and access it. Just wanted to start with a quick reminder that there is the Colorado Shines Brighter Strategic Plan Survey that is out right now. This is different from the partnership survey. So if I personally sent you an email asking you to please take the partnership survey, this is separate. Apologies that there are multiple surveys at one time, but this is about the strategic plan. So those of you who were around in 2019 will remember we started PDG with that really comprehensive needs assessment, and then I still have my physical copy of the original strategic plan that was based on that needs assessment. And that strategic plan has guided our PDG work, partners work, where we invested in stimulus, and it needs regular updating because there are certain activities we've already accomplished. There are those that we still need to do more work on, and there are even those that we haven't yet included in the strategic plan updates because they're new and important given changing times. So we really want your expertise on, you know, what should be included in that latest refresh of the strategic plan that again is intended to be a long-term plan that guides early childhood investment in the state, generally speaking, not just for PDG, not just for the department. So please take some time to complete that strategic plan survey when you have an opportunity. It does close this Friday, so hopefully you saw that highlighted on there. But yes, time is ticking away, so tomorrow. All right, quickly on the SBDC Childcare Business Training and Consultation Strategy, we wanted to emphasize that we have a lot of training happening in October. So as you all may recall, these Small Business Development Center trainings are currently offered virtually. That means although one may be offered by the Aurora South Metro Small Business Development Center and their local Early Childhood Council, or the North Metro Denver SBDC and their local Early Childhood Council, or Larimer and so, because they're offered virtually, they are open to providers across the state. And we have several that are happening in Spanish this coming month also. So Larimer has a Spanish language training that is kicking off October 5th. And then we also have a Spanish language training that Boulder's kicking off October 12th. So as well as English language trainings, both for small business development centers, both for family childcare homes and childcare centers. So lots of training in the month of October, lots of options for the providers in your communities. We have a draft marketing message that Marika dropped that you can share with your provider network. We certainly appreciate that in areas where, you know, you all have a local training happening, you may want to just push your local training, that's fine. But we just wanted to make sure that everybody around the state was aware of all these chances in October to improve their business training skills. And of course, all of these offerings are open both for those interested in becoming licensed as well as those currently licensed. So for those of you who may be family childcare home navigators working with folks who aren't quite licensed, they can still get a lot out of this training. A quick update on shared measures. Just Megan and I wanted to start with a big thank you. We had 28 councils that fully participated in shared measures. Yes, Lilith, I saw your hooray. As you all know, this is a collaborative effort between the councils, ECLA, and our department to really be able to tell the story of the statewide impact of councils. This was our second pilot. We made some pretty significant changes from the first one, and it was just heartening to know that in the midst of everything you all had going on, you really did your best to participate. We know that there were several councils that had extenuating circumstances, and they communicated that with us for the most part. We were so appreciative of that as well. Just to know that, you know, there were certain things going on that couldn't be helped, but 28 of you really got it done, and just incredible effort. So we wanted to remind you that the ECLA Professional Development Opportunity, October 20th, is where the staff at our department who are analyzing that data are going to share it back with you, as well as show you a really awesome dashboard that the Data and Evaluation Subcommittee members had an opportunity to take a peek at earlier. I think it was earlier this week. It might have been last week, because what is time anymore? But they had a chance to take a peek at it, and we're excited to show the dashboard to all of you as well. Also on October 20th, we'll have our wonderful contractors from Government Performance Solutions, Laura Segrist. You all will be very familiar with her, who will lead us in obtaining even more feedback from this latest round so that we can improve the process when we do it again next year, 1 year from the last time that we just did it. So exciting to be this far in the development of what has been a project that is years in the making. A quick update on a stimulus project that grew out of our PDG work on Project Include. So those of you who I cornered at the ECLA membership meeting will know this very well now. But I just wanted to remind all of you that Project Include, which is stimulus funded, is open and available now to all licensed programs serving children birth through 5. This builds on our PDG Inclusion and Universal project. It is Universal Design Project, rather. It's done by our partners at the Center for Inclusive Design and Engineering at UC Denver. And you'll see here that it asks providers to follow a very simple series of steps to really learn how to make their early learning environments more adapted and universally designed. So the first thing is just a quick interest form that they can complete. And that's not an application because it's open to everybody. It's just an interest form. After that, they'll be told, hey, go ahead and take that intro to universal design training that's on PDIS, which we now have available in both English and Spanish. And after they've completed the video, they can check out a kit. We currently have communication and literacy and behavior and cognition available. They're in the process of creating fine and gross motor. We're thinking that's going to be available beginning of November, and then vision and hearing will come after that. So I'm going to advance really quickly in the slide just to give you a little preview of the design and inclusion kits. So these kits are organized by domain. They have roughly $1,000 worth of materials, low-tech materials, books, charts, puzzles, switch toys that providers can use to support children with delays and disabilities in that particular domain. Each item in the kit has a corresponding video of how it can be used in the classroom. This is an example of one of the videos. They're all hosted on YouTube, so they can all be translated into Spanish as well as other languages. And it shows you exactly how you would use that item in your class to support a child. The videos can be accessed through a QR code, so we, super high tech here, or you can just, pull it off of the YouTube channel. And all of the kit handouts are available in both English and Spanish. So this is a really great opportunity for programs to be able to try materials out in their program and see how it's, yes, Jennifer, it is an option for licensed family childcare homes. Thank you for asking. Open to any licensed program. And that can be a school-based program as well. So we wanted to just remind you, so after they check out a kit, then they're eligible for customized coaching and material support from the team of experts at the Center for Inclusive Design and Engineering. So they've tried out these materials in their classroom. They decide, you know what, this visual chart is really amazing. I would love some more help on how to support routines in my classroom. And they can get that customized support from SIDE, as well as some funding to be able to purchase the items that they tried out through the kits. So awesome opportunity, available to everybody. We're not seeing a ton of uptake right now, so would really love your help in getting the word out. We have about 10% of people that are moving from completion of the interest form to the PDIS course completion at this point. And then only about 26% of that 10% who are actually moving to kit checkout. So we want to see more folks take advantage of this. I would love your ideas for recruitment. And, if that's something you want to share now in the chat, if you want to come off mute, I'm taking advantage of the fact that we're ahead of schedule. Or if you want to send an email to me and Megan, yeah, we'd just love to know how better to get the word out. Vanjie, good idea. Yeah. Megan LeClaire, if you're on, and I think you are, do we have a council specific training that's for the directors or just for, we were thinking about coming to the community of practice for the family childcare homes, family childcare home navigators and availability of care positions, but do we have anything else that's specific for center or councils?
I don't believe we have anything scheduled specific for councils, but I can double check.
Okay. Vanjie, I'm wondering, do you think it'd be most helpful if we had them come to, oh, good idea, Jennifer. Megan, will you capture these ideas? If we came to like a hot topics call and the project include folks could present again at that, because they did it before, but you know what? We didn't have the kits available, so it's just less tangible. So we could do hot topics. We could just send you all the list of videos so you can see them along with some pictures of kits. What do you all think would be most helpful?
Kristen, I think either one of those would work. If it fits into a hot topics schedule, that would be great. But I would definitely utilize a list of videos. In fact, on Tuesday night, I'm teaching on inclusion in a college class. So
perfect.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so it sounds like maybe we'll do both. And then Karen, such a great point. So one of the things that we are hoping to finalize soon is the connection between involvement in this project along with a crosswalk with the Quality Shines indicators. Thank you, Jennifer, for that note. We appreciate that. And we really do want to see programs getting involved with the whole process as, you know, as meets their needs. They can check out more than one kit. And they may not need customized coaching, but we just want to see as many folks as possible able to move through this really great resource. Jennifer, another great idea. Thank you for that. Okay, I think I saw all of the thoughts. Oh, Michelle, wonderful. That would be great. Yes, and any presentation ideas that you all have, we can ask our team at SIDE, or even Megan and I can come speak to the program generally, although we don't have the expertise they have in terms of the actual content. But yes, thank you for these great ideas. We'll follow up on them. And we, oops, I'm playing the video accidentally. Oh, well, now you're seeing the video because now I can't, oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, any questions or further thoughts, email us or keep putting them in the chat. Megan will make sure we get those recorded, but thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Chris. Oh, come back in. What's
I
up?
saw that. Yep, Karen, good question. So we have stimulus funding for this project through September of 2024. When we originally designed the project, it was our hope that we would embed these kits ultimately at the community level. So I spoke to some of the councils at the membership meeting. Once we figure out what check-in, check-out looks like, and we're able to really support that and see where local organizations might be interested in stepping up as being sort of the owners of the kits, that is our ultimate desire because it is stimulus funded. For sustainability purposes, we would love to be able to see this continue, at least the kits and the accompanying videos, to be a resource in the community. So we'll be coming back for sure sometime soon once we've had a few more kit requests to be able to see if there are folks that are interested in piloting housing the kits at their community. But we, for that purpose, made at the time 34 kits of each. So we will bump that to 35. And welcome Archuleta. Okay, thanks everyone.
Awesome. Just another quick comment here. Would love to see this type of checkout be available to councils to help FFN providers who are lacking resources.
Yeah, and Michelle, thank you for bringing up that point. I think I was speaking with Claudia about that idea at the membership meeting, and we, at this point, while it's managed by SIDE and they're sort of unfamiliar with who's checking out, are keeping it at the licensed provider level because we know that universe of providers and we're able to follow up if there are issues with, you know, kit items or things like that. But we did discuss that it probably makes sense when we pilot and ultimately have these kids living at the local level to have, you know, local organizations make those decisions. So if you're really plugged in with your FFN community, and that feels like a need in your space, and you're comfortable that there's enough of a relationship there as you're checking it out, as they're checking it out, to be able to follow up and troubleshoot and things like that, then I think that's a really great idea. So that's some of the access broadening that can happen when we have this sitting at the local level rather than just at the state.
Awesome. So yeah, we just want more of it. Great. I think next up we have Eva. I think I saw you pop in. There you are. Hi.
Eva, hi.
And Eva's going to be talking about coaching with the EQ Relate training.
Yeah, hi everybody. It's great to see everybody. So I just wanted to pop on and just give a little update around EQ coaching with the Relate training that's going to be coming up starting October 18th. So we are currently accepting anyone else who is potentially interested, with a few caveats, of course. So this group that we'll be training is has already been trained in the EQIT training model. So this is actually for the cohort that was just recently trained, but we do have room and availability if there's other folks who are already current up-to-date EQIT trainers who have not gone through the EQ coaching with the Relate portion of the training. So kind of have two tracks: the train the trainer track, which we call the foundations course, infant toddler specialist foundations course. And then we have our coaching track, which is the EQ coaching with the Relate. So this is that coaching training. It's 4 sessions, so 4 virtual sessions, October 18th, 25th, and then 2 sessions in November 1st and November 8th, with a little bit of pre-work and a little bit of post-work. So I just wanted to let folks know, especially folks on this call, that if you have any certified EQIT trainers that you're like, oh, we could really use some more EQIT coaches in our area or in our community, now is the time to send them to me. So you can always just, send folks my way, and I can chat with them about the details and about the things that we'd like for them to ideally have beforehand. I'll put the registration link in the chat. Carly, I also put that in the agenda, so you can send that out later. Where's my chat? So it will say that registration's closed because we were trying to get our group together by last week, but we do still have room. So if you have anybody who's interested, I just wanted to let you all know to send them my way. I think that's all I have, and let me know if anyone has any questions.
Any questions? I'm not seeing any questions, so I think we're good to go. And yeah, with that, registration is in the agenda, so and it's here on the chat as well. Cool. Thanks, Eva.
Thanks.
I think I just saw Angela pop off the meeting. Angela, are you still here by any chance?
I'm here. I had to sign
Okay.
out and sign back in so I could get everything working.
Got it. It's like, where'd she go?
Yeah. Let me get my
Well, yeah, we are way ahead of schedule today, folks.
No
Who
worries.
would have thought?
All right. So I wanted to come today and give a quick update on some of our strategies that are starting to pick up speed, and then just also open up the floor for a few minutes at the end to see if anyone has any additional feedback or comments from any conversations maybe we had in person on Friday, which was so exciting to see many of you, or if we haven't had a chance to see each other recently, if you're experiencing any challenges or successes, frankly, with the scholarship programs, that we could just spend a few minutes talking about that in a minute. So I'm going to go to the next slide. So the first thing I wanted to cover today is a quick follow-up from our longer presentation last month on the teacher salary increase project. So I'm excited to say that we launched the initial application on Tuesday. So 2 days ago, we opened up the first form through our partners at Metrics IQ. And just as a quick reminder, the reason why you haven't really seen any major communications about this is that it's a really small program. So we actually had to pre-identify the programs that will be eligible for this as we set those, I'll recap a little bit from last month, but we set this as a pretty strict set of eligibility criteria based on the legislation, which was 21-236, if you all would like to look that back up. But it did require that the programs that were eligible be level 3 through 5 on the quality rating scale, as well as currently accepting children receiving CCAP. From there, we also added the criteria that we wanted to see them receiving a minimum of 50% enrollment of families receiving CCAP, based on some study opportunities that we have around cost of quality. So we were thinking, you know, if we want to make some impact or have some findings around how this might impact CCAP rates in the future and how we could help increase salaries in a sustainable fashion in the future, we need programs to have a critical mass of families receiving CCAP in their program so that we can kind of try to cost model what it might take for them to be able to increase salaries across the board, even at that 50% enrollment rate. So I know that's a little dense, and happy to do some TA on the side again if that is not resonating, or if you have more questions about some of that theory or methodology there. But yeah, so we only had about 80 programs that were eligible, and I'll share which counties those came from in just a moment. And I can reach out directly to the councils in those counties if you want a list of the organizations that were eligible from your area. But just wanted to give a sense of what's happening next. So we've had already about 30% of those 80 programs complete the first step in the application process for this project, which is really exciting. So we're hovering around 25, and I haven't even gotten an update today. That was at close of business yesterday, that we already had about 30 programs complete the application. So they do a short form with metrics. Then we're asking them, especially as we're rolling into the requirement for folks through licensing to go in and update their operating status in QRIS, that they do a little work with their staff to make sure that they have their qualifications up to date in PDIS. And then that when they're verifying their program in QRIS, that they are making sure all the lead teachers and assistant teachers are assigned to the correct classrooms, that all of their enrollment and operating data is up to date in the QRIS, et cetera. So again, in line with that October requirement for licensing for folks to be doing that check anyway. From there, by the end of October, on that second step, we'll be able to close out that initial form for programs to opt in, for them to update their QRIS information, and then we'll be able to move to a random assignment process. And so we will, again, be doing a rigorous scientific study design here. There'll be random assignment of programs that will receive the salary increase, and they'll be notified in November of their acceptance status. So we're really excited that this is moving along quickly, and that, again, we were able to open the application this week, and that we haven't really received too many questions so far from those that have completed or those that are in the process of completing that first form. So again, we'll reach out to the specific communities. So I'll go to the next slide really quickly. There are 14 counties that have eligible programs within them. So I can reach out to the councils that have jurisdiction over these particular counties and let you know what programs are participating or are in the process of deciding if they will participate, I should say. Metrics IQ is actually set up to be doing all of the TA for this. So if you're getting questions, you can always direct them back to Metrics or myself, and we'll help troubleshoot any questions or concerns. But just wanted you to know, who is eligible from your community, and that they may be asking some questions about opting in and that type of thing. So that's just a quick recap to let you all know that this is open this week, and that we will follow through with the list of folks in your communities. And then from there, just wanted to make sure that, I did get to spend some time with folks talking through all of our strategies last week at the World Cafe, but wanted to spend a few minutes seeing if anyone had any questions about all of our open opportunities right now. And if you'll recall, I have 3 slides here that kind of have a table summary of where we're at with most of the strategies. So these are, again, for just for your purposes of checking in after today's meeting. So went through this kind of quickly. Oh, and the other thing that I did want to note, I'm glad I had these summary slides. I forgot about that. We just actually posted a new position to help create the substitute fund project. So I know that's the other one that's been, that's the last project that we have yet to implement at this point. And so we were hoping to hire an FTE to support this, and we are moving along with that process. So just wanted you to know we're moving along with hiring. So we expect to be able to launch that project later this winter. So apologies for the delay here. The transition to the new department has created some challenges and new policy making for hiring and things. And so we are back on schedule with this hiring process so we can get the strategy off the ground. So that was the last one that, again, we haven't seen a ton of movement on yet, and wanted you to know what our next steps are. So again, pretty fast through my slides today. Also wanted you to know the appendix has a repeat of all of the slides from last time on the teacher salary increase project, if you wanted to browse through those again. So yeah, so that kind of pushes me back to some conversation opportunity. If folks have any questions about apprenticeships, free 101 and 103, teach scholarships, or any of the other strategies that we've got ongoing right now. I know Connie was able to present earlier, and we are underway with the teacher peer mentorship program. So exciting movement across the board with all of our workforce strategies. Oh, I did see a question in the chat. Sorry, I missed that a second ago. Will there be a second round of workforce stimulus money? So I think this is a good moment to note that we still are waiting to plan for our Senate Bill 22-213 funding. That was an additional $10 million for ECE teaching workforce and $5 million for ECMH, early intervention, and home visiting workforce. And so we are finalizing what our ideas will be for that. We should see the ECMH, home visitor, and early intervention dollars moving forward probably in the winter time, and moving kind of quickly so we can get some loan forgiveness and scholarships ready for them, since they haven't seen as much support and funding as we've seen through stimulus. For the $10 million for the ECE workforce, we're looking at ways that we might be able to sustain some of our current work for an additional year beyond that September 2024 sunset that we currently are facing. So TBD, we might get some of those dollars moving sooner rather than later, but there's a few things that we're trying to line up with UPK launch and any workforce dollars that the state might be granting us for that. So we're navigating a tough funding cliff, and we are looking at how we can, sustain some of the infrastructure that we've created so far. So again, trying to be transparent there that, I'm hopeful that we'll have more funding for workforce coming our way beyond September 2024, and how we can leverage what we've currently been given authority to spend. So hopefully that answers the question. If I am a little off with what you were looking for, Jennifer, feel free to come off mute and let me know. I'll wait for a sec. Perfect. That's great feedback. Are there any other questions or things that I can help with on the workforce side of things. I'm not seeing any yet. So Charlie, I think one thing I will just tease for next month, we are going to be underway with the compensation and benefits task force and the universal preschool qualifications recommendation process. And so we should have some good updates for that process next month, as well as some planning opportunities for the workforce plan process and the report out from the early childhood workforce 2020 plan. So we are nearly under contract for all of those bodies of work. And so again, we'll have some good updates next month on kind of some of the strategic planning work that we're doing on that side of things.
All right, you're on the schedule.
Perfect.
Cool. Yes, this is a busy time, and it's really exciting that we're trying to get ahead of all of this stuff, because we know once UPK rolls out, we're going to be chasing it for a while. So let's see. It looks like we have our last presenter ready to go. Here is Brenda on.
I am. I'm right
Hi,
here. How are
Brenda.
you? Hello
Good. How are
again.
you? I know. Nice to see you again.
Good, yeah. I'm Brenda Mays, and I'm your PDIS Help Desk Manager. So today I'm going to talk to you about House Bill 221010. Let me share my screen. And Charlie, just so you know, I'm like looking at one screen. So if questions pop up, feel free to interrupt me, okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. All right. So House Bill 221010 is your early childhood educator income tax credit. And this is a little bit of information about what is a refundable income tax credit. Feel free to take a minute to read this. I provided this slide for these two links here, okay? This link is about refundable income tax credit. This link is to the signed act, the signed House bill, which kind of details everything that we kind of synthesized to offer information on today, okay? So the tax credit and who qualifies. So this is a language that was sent out, and I'm not going to really stray too far from it. This language was sent out in a communication on the 9th to the field. I want to stay real close to that because I don't want to misinform anybody, but I just want to kind of review it with you. So if you are an early childhood professional and you had an active early childhood professional credential in 2022, and that was either through our version 2.0 or 3.0 of our system, then these are tax credits that you may be eligible for when you submit a tax return. Now, the bill includes subsequent years if this tax return is going to be enforced. So it'll be happening in 2023, 2024, and 2025 as well, okay? So one of the things I want to kind of put out there is I would like for us to share with the field that they can check to see if they have an active credential in their PDIS account, okay? So I just shared that if you have a 2.0 or 3.0 active credential in 2022 and have worked for at least 6 months in a licensed childcare facility and have these thresholds of adjusted gross income, then you're eligible for the tax credit, okay? So this is me, and so currently I do have a credential level 3, but I'm not eligible because I did not work in a child care center for 6 months of this year, okay? So things to keep in mind are all of these 3 bullets here, okay? So these are some more links that you can go ahead and get into for more help and information regarding taxes. I am not a tax expert and I don't intend to get into the tax conversation part of things, but just to provide you information as far as the credential is concerned, okay? So to be eligible for this tax credit, we're going to be sharing information with the Department of Revenue. So we're thinking it could be helpful if you make sure that your account is accurate and updated. Make sure you have your current first and last name, that you have verified employment and that employment is correct, that you have a job role listed. You're hearing this a lot about job roles because if you have a job role listed in your employment, then that helps many things when it concerns PDIS and QRIS. So it's important to have the job role listed in your employment. It could be helpful also if you have your Social Security number or ITIN available there as well. I want you to know that you can edit your profile by going into your PDIS account through the menu at My Profile. I know that sounds like a repeat, but that's actually the path that you have to get there. Through your menu, My Profile, and then My Profile. And you'll be able to access that and edit any information within your profile, keep it current. I'm thinking, I know that we are very busy folks out there, and often we don't think about getting into our PDIS account unless there's some training involved. But I would recommend, especially during this time, that our users check their account at least once a week, especially if they have a credential that is pending, so that they can see any notes from the reviewer. Okay. One of the things that I wanted to show you is,
oh,
sure.
There's a question in the chat, a couple questions real quick before we move on.
Sure. Do you want me to go back? Oh, let's see.
So one is, if a provider is waiting on a credential to be processed for a higher level, does the 6 months that they work this year's credit from the time of the application or the time of the award?
The 6 months of employment has to do with being 6 months employed in a licensed childcare facility and doesn't necessarily relate to a specific program, to my knowledge. So 6 months of employment in a licensed childcare facility.
Cool. Yeah, and it looks like Stephanie said if a provider has an active credential, has been employed in a licensed program for at least 6 months, meet the income eligibility, they should apply for the tax credit. So it's based on that. And then there was a question, how will the delay in awarding credentialing affect eligibility?
I'm going to get to that in just a moment if we can.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, that's I'm sure the big question. Okay. I'll go ahead and move on to this current slide right here. So if you haven't had an active credential, level 1 through 6 in 2022, you can see that here. We talked about this on the previous slide. Now, if your credential has been reviewed and you don't see the credential awarded, you may be in a request for more information status. And I kind of have to apologize about the text on this particular picture. But right here, this box right here in your credential would appear under this box. And this would be on your dashboard, your home dashboard. It's your to-do list, and there it would tell you, okay, you have a request for more information on your early childhood professional credential. So to do that, you would go to your active application, and within your application, you'll see notes from the reviewer. You would address those notes and then submit the application again so that we can see what changes or what documentation you have added to the application. Okay. So to do this, basically you go into credentials and qualifications. Then you'll go to My Applications and then Active Applications. And you'll be able to address whatever reviewer notes are there. Okay. All right. So we recommend that all PDIS users interested in the tax credit revisit and complete your PDIS account profile to include the SSN or the ITIN to assist the Department of Revenue in matching this credit to your tax information. And then, oops, let's let me back up just a little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about, let me escape this. Hang on just a second. Let me go back here because I don't think I really addressed this question. So we are going to be prioritizing folks who did not have an active credential in 2022. So in order to, we reflected on this, and as far as, you know, being equal in the practice and balancing that equity, what we're doing is we're prioritizing folks who did not have an active credential, for the reason that if you do have an active credential, you're already eligible for the credit. And so we want to make sure that those folks who have applications in queue that have not been reviewed and do not have an active credential in 2022, we're going to address those first. So I think that answers the previous question, Charlie. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so. Is there a flyer or something that has this information on it, Brenda?
Yeah, there is. Let me see here.
And if you email it to me, then I can
Yeah.
attach it to the follow-up email as well.
So this went out on the 9th, and I'll make sure you have this as well, okay?
Cool. Yeah, if you want to just put that in the chat, and then I'll put it on the agenda.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. I know this is a subject that I think we're kind of, it has a lot of different parts that we're trying to understand in the field, and I'm happy to review any part of this with you now, or you can actually reach out to the PDIS help desk and we'll review those questions with you individually. Through an email would probably be preferred.
I know this is a big topic, and I know there's a lot of moving parts to it. So please.
There
Yeah.
is. I think we're in a good place, Charlie. I think we have a plan in place. We've already started addressing these folks who do not have a credential in place. We're already working on that. We have some manpower behind it. We have a strategic plan in place. And I also wanted to, I know I keep going back into the slideshow, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about is if you have an RMI, I want you to be aware that that RMI has a timeline on it. If you think about a queue and us trying to process a queue, we have to make sure that we're moving that queue along. An RMI is a request for more information. So if you see a request for more information, you're going to have a date on it. That is the last date that we're going to be reaching out for a response to the request for more information. If in fact you don't reach out by that date, or the user does not reach out by that date, that application will be processed the day after with the information or the submissions available in the application at that time.
And there was a question on here, Brenda, about if an FAQ has been made to support this process, and Stephanie let us know that they're finalizing a communication plan with an FAQ.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephanie, how is that going to be distributed?
That's part of our plan, Charlie.
Perfect.
Probably through you and this channel.
All righty. Awesome. So stay tuned.
Monique, I do see that question now, Charlie. Thank you. Monique, here's how that works. If in fact you are just looking at your application, maybe you're just going in to add something to it, it is not yet under review, and you're just looking at it and you want to add to it, or you just want to see the status of it, you'll want to hit save and close, okay? But if it's on an RMI, a request for more information, you have to resubmit it in order for us to see the new documentation you provided. Does that help, Monique?
Yes. What other questions do you have? I'm not seeing any right now. You know how to get a hold of Brenda, or just reach out to the PDIS help desk or the Colorado Shines help desk, and we can help direct any questions that you might have.
And can I just throw one more thought in there?
Yeah, of course.
Because you have one team managing your external training, your credential review, and your help desk questions, it is helpful to us if you practice a couple of things. One of those is refer to the information that's being sent out to you, either through email or through the slide deck that's available. Go to your home dashboard, check your status of your current credential, check your status of any RMIs, kind of just making sure that you're familiar with your account, you know the status of things before reaching out for questions. We definitely want to be here to help you, but we want you to know where information is available to you quickly instead of waiting for us to get back to you.
Yes, that's a very good point. Any other questions? All right. We don't have anything else on the agenda. Does anyone else have any general questions or comments? All righty. Well, we gave ourselves an extra 30 minutes. We used up about 10 of them. So that means we get 20 minutes to do whatever you want. I want to thank you all. For those of you who I got to meet in person last week on Friday, it was so wonderful to see you in person. We're going to keep with the 2-hour time limit, knowing that we may be given some time back. If you did present today, just make sure you send me your presentation links. I think I've got most of them on here. So I'll be sending up my follow-up email, but go ahead and check the agenda. Everything is right on there, everything I've gotten so far. Yeah, that's it. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Shana Tova to those who celebrate Rosh Hashanah coming up on Sunday and Monday. And yeah, it's so wonderful to see you all and to work with you all here. Have a great day.